Hey guys, this is Hell Hades, and this is another Raid Shadow Legends video. So today I am going to try and do some work for my good pal Juice. I've been chatting to him over Discord for a while, and yeah, I mean he's relatively new into the game, but doing well, and just really wants someone to come in and do an overview, see if there's any sort of quick wins that can start to pull up improvements in terms of content. I'm going to use this as a bit of a beginner's guide as well for people that are watching here. So, you know, the type of things that I look for, the type of things that I do to, if it was my account basically. So he's done a bit of silver farm and he's got close to sort of 10 million here. What we're going to do first is just have a sort of general snoop around. This is literally the first time I've opened his account. I've got no idea what I'm going to find. So let's get into it. I hate seeing little red dots, so I'm going to pick up his shard. Cool, don't need anything else in there. Not going to burn any of these, but let's see how he's doing. So it's nice, he's saving up shards for summoning events. That's the right thing to do. Let's see how the Great Hall is going. So yeah, so it looks like he's on the right track. He's stacking up the accuracy. He's actually got a lot of medals that he's picked up. I guess he's picking up for the next level of accuracy, probably on blue, but we'll see when we get to his champions. But yeah, looks like he's going down the right route here. He's got the early levels in the rest of the tree, which is important. So that's all looking good. So let's just have a quick look at where he's got to in different areas. So he's doing Nightmare campaign already, and he's on the third level of that. So that is obviously strong. Must have a good. Let's just see who he's using as a campaign farmer in here. So he's got Cupidus as a campaign farmer with Skull Crusher. That's interesting. That's an interesting setup. I would have thought Bad L, I guess it's the affinity here, but I would have thought Bad L would be the natural choice. Let's just run. I'm just going to run one level of Nightmare and just see how these guys perform. As I say, I've not seen gear, I've not seen anything yet. This is first look. So let's just run one and see how these guys do. It's quite cool actually, he's gone on to Nightmare already, so he obviously was able to farm the previous Brutal campaign. Let's throw it onto auto. Level 2 and see how we go. So yeah, wow, he's got some damage there, so he must have some decent gear on his Cupidus there. I've not actually ever owned a Cupidus, so yeah, great damage actually. Okay, so it looks like he's set up pretty nicely for campaign farming. And obviously the Bad L, so the nice thing about Bad L here is he is just going to carry you through any of this content for Nightmare clan boss, for Nightmare campaign. I've got a Bad L. Anytime I've needed to sort of gain a bit more, I guess, durability, he's the one I go to. So he's got one nuker, one person here that can carry, and that's pretty much what you want if you want to start pulling up your medals. So he's actually got a really good farming setup there. I don't think there's a lot that needs to be done, but I'll check gear when we get into it. Feels like his Cupidus is strong. That looked really good. I think actually what I just want to look at is, because I've got a better gauge here of farming levels, I'm just want to have a quick check and see what his 12-3 is like. So 23 seconds there. Let's take out any of the strong champs and just see what would have happened if he went solo. Solo farm. Yeah, so I guess nice AoE there. Guess he felt a bit slow actually. But I tell you what, this is a good solo campaign farmer. I've not seen him doing campaign before, but that's actually pretty quick. 17 seconds for a campaign farmer with his abilities. I'm not sure if he can be that much quicker, but again, we'll look at his stuff. So that's cool. That's a good sign. It means he can rank up his champs quite easily. I guess depends if you're free to play or not. If you are free to play, then obviously you won't unlock any of this stuff. If you're pay to play to a certain extent, these are worthwhile. The mine is definitely worthwhile if you're paid. If you no, actually even if you're free to play, but if you plan on playing for more than a few months, basically, it's worth doing. If you're just kind of casually coming in and out, then I wouldn't go for it. But the mine actually is something that's worth upgrading and upgrading as much as you can. Let's have a quick check on his market. You'll see what I do here. Every time there's mystery shards, I will buy them. just helps you when you get to the summon events, and there might be a chance of kind of just using shards just to finish something off, so you're not having to waste sacred or ancient shards and stuff that you don't need to. I actually also buy a lot of level 2 guys, level 2, just to save me burning through my shards. So it's slightly more expensive doing it this way, but not a lot more expensive when you figure the amount of energy and resources you have to pump into potentially leveling up a 1 star. And you probably get about 80% 1 stars out of a group of 10 green shards. So that's a little tip there. I would always buy these. If they're the 39k ones, I would definitely buy them. Okay, so let's then have a look at how he's doing on the other dungeons. Actually, I'll check Faction Wars. Faction Wars, pretty low levels right across the board. So this is something I would always recommend people to do. And I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't do Faction Wars. It's boring. It's broken." You know what? It might be broken, but if you can go in and get yourself a bunch of level 1, level 2 glyphs, it makes a massive difference to your kit, and you'll be surprised how much more you can do if all of your guys have got an extra 10% HP, an extra 10% defense, an extra 20 speed, and that's what we're talking about for those low level glyphs. I'm farming up at this sort of level, so everyone's getting around level 3 glyphs. That's 3% defense per glyph. You put that on 7 items, you've got an extra 20% defense. It's massive. So I will go back to Juice when I chat to him and just recommend that every day, if he's got time, just go in, even if it's at the lowest level, just go in. So that he's got a weak set of champs here. You can do this now. I don't know if you've seen this. You can actually include your vault for Faction Wars, so I can look in his vault and say, oh yeah, he's got more barbarians, pull those out, throw them in the fight. They don't actually come out of your vault, they still stay in, which is quite cool. I think this actually was a nice addition to the game. So you can put a lot of your Faction War only guys in your vault and just pull them out, and they won't stay in your roster, they'll go straight back in the vault once you're finished. But you'll see here his problem is he's got a lot of, well, he's basically got all very low level champs here, so maybe he would struggle to do this content. I'd imagine with the player power here, none of them can be geared either, so we won't do that, but we will just do a couple of this level runs. Yeah, it's fine. So let's just see. You should be able to run through this even with only one person that's got geared, to be honest. It's such an easy level. See how quickly she clears that wave. So you can be getting yourself here, you know, the best part of 6 2-star glyphs probably in 10 minutes. And you know, as I say, even on my low level teams, I do it daily. I just have it. I hit the auto if I can't actually put any time into it. And you know, you're having a cup of tea, hit the auto a few times, and away you go. Yeah, it's a decent thing to do. For those even that don't really love Faction Wars, it's still worth doing it. And you can imagine here, I mean, I've pretty much put 4 champs in there that probably don't have any gear at all, and we've done it. We've got another star. You know, the other thing is just looking at the map or looking at the rewards. These rewards are really easy to get, and you know, if you're a lower level player, there's nothing to stop you getting up to, you know, books, chickens, all sorts of stuff, and it's not hard to get. It's hard to get to the late level stuff, I totally agree, but it's not hard to get this early level stuff. Just something you should do. Okay, so that's his Faction War set up. Let's see Clan Boss if he's had a hit. So he has. He's had 3 keys, and okay, what we got here? So 3 keys on what level? Brutal level, 3 keys. He's got a Man-Eater, so he's got 2 poisoners. He's got a counter-attack champ. He's got 3 poisoners actually, and a healer, 2 healers, counter-attack champ, and someone that does attack down. Decent composition. Let's see what champions he's got to see if we can change it up a bit. But you know, on the bones of it, for brutal level, this is a good composition. And if we look at, I mean, he's absolutely nailing what he needs for the chest. I guess he's probably just carrying the rest of the team a bit here in terms of his clan, because I'd say with the composition he's ready to move up to Nightmare, but again it might be a gearing issue as well, so we can have a look at that. So Arena, he is in he's in Gold 4. It's good. He's obviously around the sort of starting point of Gold 4 stuff. What's he got as a defense? Yeah, decent champions. I'd say the defense is a little bit reliant on Cupidus to do all of the damage. It would be my only reservation with this. But certainly not a bad defense. We could probably just see what, again, we need to see what his champions are like to see if we can improve that. And then in terms of dungeons, so I'd imagine all of this is on farm. Yeah. This one. Yeah. Okay, so the keep seem to be on farm. I'd imagine they should be for the level that he is. If he's taken on Nightmare, that obviously will be. And then this is one of the areas. So he's basically said to me, can you help me out with dungeons? I've got decent champs. I've got a good grasp of the game. You know, he watched my last video. He kind of picked up some of the basics from that. And he said, can you just come in and see if there's anything you would change up to try and get these running smoother? So he's got level 16 to do there. Level 15 on Spider. It's actually pretty similar to Bramzilla, if you saw that video. Similar sort of level stuff. 18, it's almost the same yet. And then Fire Knights is on 14. So again, what I'd expect to see, it's a much harder dungeon to get compositions right for. So part of what I'm going to try and do is get smoother teams that can run here. I'll see if I can do any tweaking to Clan Boss. And that's about it, I think. So let's get then a first look at his roster. Actually, I just want to see his clan. So 984, decent enough rank. 350 power. Yeah, okay, so we've got some good players in here. That's good. I'm surprised then that he is the one who's doing the kind of the lion's share of the damage there on the clan boss. It might be that not everyone's attacking there. That's something that's quite interesting. But you obviously want a clan that's going to sort of stack up with what you do. Anyway, let's get into the juicy stuff. So, champion base. So let's get it onto better view. That's all going to be food down there. So we've got here, I mean, a good number of legendaries right off the bat. Baron, did a video on Baron. Baron can hit really hard. He actually might be useful for that Nightmare campaign to sort of push it through, but obviously already got a good champion in Cupidus. So I mean, instantly I can see an Arena champion here that would be better than what's set up at the moment. Arena, Fushan is fantastic in Arena as well, actually, and a lot of content, a lot of dungeon content. But there's not much else that can come out of here that could go into his kind of clan boss setup. So let's just have a look in his vault. His vault's a bit skinny as well, so we've got a Royal Guard in there. Royal Guard is going to massively help with dungeons. So Royal Guard should come out there. Cool. Okay. So I think the main thing we need to do here then, so there's not masses of options around champions. Champions are strong. Champions to have good sort of variation of champions, and it's going to be down to, I think, whether we can get them geared in the right way to be able to take on the next level of content. So I think let's get this underway. I think what I'm going to do then, so similar to what I've done with Bramzilla, I'm going to go through the gear of everybody's gear. Going to go through everybody's gear, look to see if there's anything that just needs to be binned. But it does seem to have a much kind of cleaner setup here than what we found at Bram. So, you know, there's none of the kind of single stat items on some of these guys. There's a lot of new items coming through, so we'll have a look at those and see if there's any that should be leveled. Do some playing around, and yeah, I'll check in with you soon. Right, welcome back, guys. So I have done bit of cleaning up here. So looking through Juice's account, he's actually got some really good gear. He's also got a good sense of the game, so there's not many kind of flat stat items that I've had to, I think I just clicked something there, yeah, there's not many flat stat items that I've had to just kind of clear out. There was maybe a few, but it's probably more that stuff that he's missed rather than he's keeping it for a reason. So you can see here I've kind of going through 201 out of 500 items, cleaning those out, 6 million silver in the bank. This is all stuff. So what I'm looking for, when I did the last video, I got a lot of requests. Can you come and do my account? Can you come and do the same sort of thing for me as I did for Bramzilla? I guess the reason why I did that video was because I was trying to show people how to help themselves to get in good shape. You don't need tons of legendaries. Legendaries help you in the game, epics help you in the game, but actually selecting the right gear for your champions is equally as important. So what I'm doing here, if you look, I've kind of deleted a load of stuff. This gear set is not that relevant for players that are playing at kind of mid-game. I call this mid-game where Juice is right now. However, if there are good items within this gear set, then you don't just get rid of them. But if the items are not good, then just sell them on. Get the silver in the bank and work on the items that are. So something like this, see here, speed and crit rate. I wouldn't sell anything straight out with speed and crit rate before I've rolled a couple of times on it. And it might be that it just sits in my account for 4 weeks, and then suddenly I get a champion. I'm like, oh, I just need to up my speed and crit, and then I'll have a mixed set, and that will form part of that mixed set if I get good rolls. You might get 3 speed rolls here, and this item all of a sudden runs you at 20 speed. Or you might get 3 crit rolls, and all of a sudden you've got a 24% crit item, which means you don't have to put crit gloves on, you put crit damage gloves on. That's the way of thinking. So you can see here there's a lot of items that have gone in the sale bin. You've got a lot of gear here that's kind of just sitting there waiting to be looked at. So I would sell less in this sort of gear set. So lifesteal is really important for mid-game accounts. Definitely less in speed set. That's important right the way through the game. And definitely less in accuracy set, because again, important right the way through the game. But you can see here, you've still got a good selection of items after this. That stuff is gone. And bang, we've now got a kind of decent amount to be working with. I'm going to do the same in artifacts. I'd imagine there's less. It's much harder early to mid game to farm artifacts, but again, I'll just show you the sort of process I go through here. So I've not even looked at these new bits yet. Ideally, what you are looking for is a base roll of, in fact what I do is I keep a selection of each base roll, and then I look at the sub rolls beneath it. So we've got a nice base roll here which is defense. I probably use 40, maybe even 50% of my items for most champions are roll defense when you get into sort of mid to end game. You just need to be tankier. Even attack champions need to be tankier unless say you're like campaign farmer or something. So I'll look at this and say, right, it's defense. This sub here is horrendous for this ring, but this sub here could potentially be good. And what I'll then do is I'll say, right, well, let's just roll it to 4. And basically, if we roll defense percentage as the first roll, I'll keep it. If we don't, I would probably, if that's my account, I've sold that straight out. That's no longer good to me. Because Juice has only got a few items here, I'm not going to sell stuff. I'll sell something like that, but I'm not going to sell stuff which is still pretty useful to him. So this could still be useful to him, bearing in mind he's only got a few of these items. That probably couldn't be. That, yeah, maybe just because of the HP percentage, but it would be on a lower kind of base of champion. So I'm going to go through all these artifacts, do the same again, and then we're going to start looking into the champions. Okay guys, so onto the champions now. If I look here, if I was to go to try and upgrade something, so we're up to about 16 million silver to play with. First thing I'm going to do actually is just try and get his clan boss team in a better shape to be able to face Nightmare Clan Boss. He's got the right champions for it. It's definitely achievable for him with the setup that he's got. So what he now needs to do is to kind of be a bit more speed tuned to allow him to do it. So there's a few things that he needs to do. One, and I've already told him this, he needs to get Tayrael to 60 as soon as possible. So he basically wants Tayrael as his lead. Tayrael will give him an A1 which decreases attack, and an A2 which decreases defense. So actually Maneater will come out of his clan boss team, Tayrael will go in as the lead. You've then got Tayrael, you've got Badel, you've got Steel Skull, you've got Brawler, and you've got who else didn't I say? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. Yeah, Badel, Steel Skull, Brawler, Skull Crusher, Tayrael. So that then becomes a really solid team. You've got one guy who does defense up, you've got 2 people that heal, you've got the poison stacking right the way through the fight, you've got the attack down so that you are not going to take a shed ton of damage from the boss. So in order then to make sure that this works, there's a few things we need to do. So the clan boss at nightmare level runs at a speed of 170. So basically what we need is a skull crusher that is a speed of 171. Ideally 171, but 171 to 173. You also ideally want a skull crusher who has got lifesteal gear on, because he is actually the person who's going to take the most damage as you get later into the fight. So see, we've got defense gloves here, that's perfect, that's fine. We've already got speed boots in lifesteal, so that's fine. So I will first look for replacements to get Skull Crusher in the right gear, in lifesteal gear. So ideally, if you remember from my last video, the top 3 items I will level to 12s. Ideally get them to 16s, but you know there's only so much silver to play with here. So top 3 you get to at least 12s. The bottom 3 you want to try and get to 16s. These 3 have a lot more impact on your overall stats than the top 3 in terms of the base stat. Yeah, so this is currently at level 12, 33% defense gain. If you upgrade that to maximum, it's going to give you 50%. That's a huge upgrade. Whereas if you upgraded, let's get a defense item, this shield here, 170 defense. Upgrade it to max, it gives you 265. So you're getting an extra 85 defense there. So if you think 85 defense as a portion of this, it's about what's that? It's about 7%, 7-8%. Whereas here you're gaining another 17%. Yeah, so you can see the difference between maxing a glove compared to maxing a shield. Any of the top row you gain average to small amount of main stats. Bottom row you gain significant main stats. So if you only got a certain amount of silver, focus on the bottom rows. So yeah, so what I'm going to do then is this shield actually looks pretty good, 16% defense sitting on it. Defense is what I'm looking for Skull Crusher. This is already 33 on speed gloves. Just make sure we don't have any level 6 stuff. No, so I'm just going to go ahead and throw these up to a 16. And what I'm going to do is just re-gear Skull Crusher first and then start working through the team and get them basically ready for that Nightmare Clan boss fight. Join you again soon. Okay, so job 1 done. We've got Skull Crusher now ready for Nightmare Clan boss. If you see here, if I look at his total stats, I've got him exactly on 171, that's perfect. I've got him in lifesteal gear, I've increased his defense, he's still got good HP pool, he's actually able to do a bit of damage as well. The main thing is just don't give him any accuracy. Accuracy is completely useless. If anything, you want it to be as low as you can. Basically his skill 1 has got a heal reduction debuff. You just don't want that to land ever. So I always try and keep my Skull Crusher well below sort of 50 accuracy. But yeah, we've got some nice gear here now. So I put defense gloves on, max those out. I've got defense chest on, max it out with a nice HP roll there. He already had the speed boots on, which were good. Already had 2 defense rolls. And then we've got 2 defense rolls on the shield, defense roll on the helmet, and speed HP crit. All in all, really good set for Skull Crusher here. When you've got more silver, you will be maxing these out. When you've got items that can go in here as well, you'll be putting on a defense amulet and you'll be putting on a defense banner. That's important there. You don't want the accuracy banner on this guy, defense banner or HP banner. But so far, that's actually a pretty good setup for a Nightmare Clan boss kind of starter without these 2 items. So pretty happy with that. Going to go ahead and do the same sort of thing on Steel Skull, Occult, Bad El, and Tyrell. And yeah, come back to you after that. Okay guys, let's catch up on where we've got to. So basically what I was looking to do here was to get a team ready for Nightmare, and ultimately what the best way I found to do that is to speed tune a team so that you always get the benefit from both counter attacks. So if you've got a counter attack comp running Brutal Nightmare and Ultimate Nightmare, you're best to just get a speed tune team so that you always get a counter attack from both possible ticks of the counter attack buff. So Skull Crusher put counter attack on, you'll get it for 2 turns. With the clan boss, he hits for that first AoE, it will hit your whole team, you counter attack. You then have 1 more turn, clan boss goes again, hits your whole team, you all counter attack again. So the way to do that is to have a speed ranging between 171, this is for Nightmare, 171 up to 190. If you go faster than 190, then actually you'll start to lap the boss, which means that you won't get the full benefit. If you're slower than 171, you won't get your first turn in before the boss has his go. So what you want is you want your counter attacker to be the slowest champion. And what that means is he's going to go last just before the clan boss goes and get the counter attack buff on, and then it all starts going through and it syncs in nice rhythm. So I've got then Skull Crusher now. I've got him in lifesteal gear, which is really important. I've got him at 171, good defense, no accuracy, that's important. I've then got Tayrael, who's going to be the attack down lead. I've got him running at 179 speed, so faster than the Skull Crusher. He's at 2.6k defense at the minute, could do with a bit more there. He needs more accuracy. I don't have the gear for it here at the moment. We need a banner here basically. Once he gets level 6, he'll get that banner. The accuracy will push up, but it's still a bit low. We probably need to roll on these bits of items to see if we can get something else here. Ideally we get a banner with accuracy on it. Hasn't got one at the, an amulet. Hasn't got one at the moment. So there's a little bit of work to do here, but this is definitely the right champion to do it with. I've then sorted out Steel Skull. So Steel Skull is at 186, so still below that 190. He's a bit quick, but that's fine. I've ramped his defense right up. I've ramped his accuracy right up. That's what he's all about. He's about landing poisons and being fast. So defense 50%, defense 60%, speed boots, and then you'll see the top one here. I've got good rolls on speed here, and I've got some nice gear just to kind of keep him tanky. Nice tanky stats again. So hopefully you're starting to see the logic of clan boss is all about defense, 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 and be at the right speed. If you're somebody that lands a debuff, make sure you've got the right accuracy. That's kind of the main things for clan boss. So we've got a Cult Brawler here. I've completely changed his gear around. So what I've done here is, and actually in fairness, the gear that was on these guys was not bad gear, but it was not tuned to set the comp up in the right way. So defense gloves, HP, chest, I'd probably prefer defense again. Just defense, defense, defense. The reason why I've chosen this guy for HP is because his base defense is actually just so low. So he doesn't benefit from defense like some of the others does. He'll definitely be the first to die when we get this run going. Speed, obviously, and then just enough sort of base stats here to get me to the right speed to run this comp. So 178 again, above the Skull Crusher, below the clan boss. And the last one in this team is going to be Bad L. He's going to be a carry for Juice in a lot of his content. Juice had got him set to be a high damage dealer because he heals when he does his A1. So his A1 here heals for damage inflicted. It's not a terrible way to go, to be fair. I've just switched up a bit. He had really low accuracy before. He was really fast. I've switched it up so that he's relevant for clan boss. So he's speed tuned. He's really tanky. So in things like Spider, he can take a hit. And his accuracy means he's going to land those poisons, so that actually going to start doing damage to your enemies as well. I put him in still reasonably high crit rate, okay crit damage, okay attack, but I've not pushed him out to be like an all-out damage dealer. I don't think that's the best way to play Bad L. So that is Nightmare Clan Boss set up. Let's just see if we've got a key to use. It'd be good if we did. Yeah, cool. Okay. So his team look like they're in a good shape to kill Brutal. There's still loads of time left. So let's get ourselves into Nightmare. So if we think about it, so Juice is doing here, what, 18 million a key on Brutal. So as I say, you already had a good kind of team setup. Now, there's a little bit of a challenge here. So with the way I've set the speed comp up, Bad L will always cleanse the clan boss's stun if he's not in this leader position. So what you actually want is you want Tayrael in that leader position. Tayrael at the moment is only a level 50, so he's not actually leveled to do this properly. I'm going to play him there anyway because I actually just want to see how he performs. But when he gets to 60, obviously his base stats grow considerably and this comp makes more sense. But yeah, so what will happen is Clan Boss is going to lay his stun on the third wave. Bad L will always be ready to cleanse it. One thing actually I just need to check, I haven't checked masteries on these guys. And this is a really important part of this. Yeah, okay. So there's a bit of a challenge here, and I'll have to give Juice some advice. So with this speed tuning, this ability here, you get a 30% chance to extend the duration of any buff. That's perfect. We want that. Let me think. Is there anything in here that's going to ruin our speed tune? Actually, maybe not. The only thing that might fall out, so if I wanted to run this completely on auto, this ability here is the one that stuffs me up. So this ability here, what it's going to make me do is now and then Bad L will he'll go out of sync. So to run it completely on auto, that will let him down. Let's just check masteries elsewhere. Yep, that looks good. That looks good. That's fine. So he's actually got a decent setup on masteries on most of these guys. And again there, that's fine. Who else have we got? Skull Crusher. So we've got defensive mastery. So he's got it set in the same way that I would set mine, pretty much. That's good. And then Tyrell. Tyrell can't get his Warmaster mastery yet. I would actually go. You can go this way. This is okay. I would probably go defensive tree with Tyrell in this kind of speed tune comp. But you can go either way. Actually, it's fine. The main thing with him is he needs to land his attack down. So if your accuracy is low, his accuracy is really low right now actually. Without landing that attack down, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. We can just get a little bit more accuracy here. He's already gone the accuracy route. Yeah, so it might be then that Tyrell's going to struggle until he gets his 60 and he gets a bit more base stats built in, and until we kind of get the gear a bit more focused on accuracy for him. It'd probably be better if I had enough speed on accuracy gear in a chest and the shield, or change some of these other bits around. So these gloves, if I could perhaps change some defense gloves in here with some speed on them. So we've got some there, 5 speed. It's not going to be enough. So I would do that. That's the kind of next step here, is to change up the gloves and probably a chest into an accuracy set, but he needs to be more like 170 plus here, so he's way below where he needs to be. Just going to see what Maneater's actually running at, because I think he's also got the A1 attack down, and he's obviously geared him as a 60. He's got masteries. I'm going to run Maneater then instead, because he's already sort of set, but he's way too fast. That's the only problem. So you'll see he doesn't want me to change Maneater because he's got him set for specific content. He doesn't want me to change him. So you see here, he doesn't affect Clan Boss. None of these now do. I still don't want Bad L there because I want Bad L cleansing Maneater. But you'll see, let's just run this through. But yeah, ideally he gets Tyrell in here. I'm going to just have it to go on auto, because then you get the kind of benefit of what I mean for things like the cleanse. So you see there, end of the turn, Clan Boss goes, everyone counter attacks at the right time. We're getting all those kind of ticks of poison off. And it'll just run through nice and smooth, getting all the poison ticks up. Clan Boss goes again. Maneater's too quick, see? But he doesn't want me to change that. But Maneater's too quick now for this comp. He needs Tyrell to be stepping up to do that. But basically, everyone that is speed tuned the way I wanted them to be is fine. So we've got a stun there. It's gone on Bad L. Don't know why it went on Bad L there actually. It must have been some. There must have been an unkillable or something on Maneater. Just going to see that run through this time round. Because Maneater's out of sync in speed, we're also losing the attack down, which is a problem, and he probably doesn't have enough accuracy. So Maneater in this composition is the problem, because we're actually landing loads of poisons. Everything's going nicely other than that. But yeah, Tyrell will fix that. If we get Tyrell up with the accuracy, it will fix this comp, and it'll actually be a really high damage comp. Yeah, that's gone on there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to let this run through to the end of the fight, and then just sort of come in for the last few seconds like normal. Okay guys, coming back in here, so we've done 15.34 million damage. Good spread of damage across the team. You see a Cult Brawler there is doing work in terms of putting those poisons on. Really good champion for this level. I think if we'd switched Tyrell in and he's got full masteries, full better accuracy, we're switching that up above 20 million. So that's a good first run considering we've got someone here who's not really fit in the team. Just go back again. I'm trying to remember what he did on Brutal as an average. So beforehand he was doing Brutal, he was doing about 17, 18 million. So we come in first go at Nightmare 15.3 million because we've got a speed tune comp. So that's cool, that's good. That's going to be working nicely. Just need to get that Tyrell done. So I guess, back to looking at champions. Now we're going to just look at some dungeon compositions. Let's get ourselves into a couple of dungeons and see if we can't make something happen here. So, I mean, actually, just to show you, he'd already geared his Baron pretty well. So we've got crit damage on the gloves. He's already got a decent crit rate, good crit damage on the amulet. He's got an attack percentage on the chest, which is not a bad idea, albeit for some content it might just be that he's too squishy, but he's got pretty good, decent base stats, so I think we're probably alright the way he is. I wouldn't change too much about this build. I think it's good. I mean, the only thing you could potentially look to see if we can pair that set bonus up. So if I think I've already got a good build, I will just be looking at, can I just tweak it to make it a bit better. He's got some nice crit damage gear here as well. So, you know, if I look at this, I mean, this is a really nice piece. And if I get two of them on, I'm going to get plus 20%. What you're doing here is you're starting to look at what difference is it going to make me have. You know, what sets am I changing out? So I know that I've got two kind of unlinked pieces here, but ideally I want to keep that as a crit damage item. So it's mainly then thinking, well, can I afford to drop speed, or can I afford to drop the attack, which I'm gaining here? So I'm gaining 15%. It's like 170 odd attack. Would I rather have plus 20% crit damage? And the answer actually is yes, I would. That's a better stat to have. So it's just making sure I don't lose too much of other stats here to make it happen. So that, I think, is a good trade out. Because then we're going to go with this shield. See there, so we'll get another 26% crit. And I've got much better defensive stats coming in. But I do lose a little bit elsewhere. I mean, the other option is these speed boots, which again gives me that crit, but I lose too much crit rate, too much speed. I mean, obviously I'd go and roll the speed, so that'll come back, but I don't get the defensive bonus, so I think that's the better option for the content we're looking to run. So we're going to put him in that. It's already all level 12, so we don't need to do anything there in terms of rolling. He's been done. I know that his gear is already really good. Maneater's fine. Tyrell. See, Tyrell I'd like to take in, but I think he's going to be too squishy as level 50 to fight the spider. And that's the problem I've got here, is the champions that can deal with this spider fight. Royal Guard would absolutely go in and have a field day at the spider fight. He would nuke. But if you look here, I've only really got sort of 12 champions to work with, and it's not enough to give me different compositions. So all I can really do is gear them in the right ways so that when Juice actually gets to leveling those champions up, they can come in and do this content. But let's have a look. Let's see if we can get through it. This isn't something I have to auto. It's not like he's got a mission where you need to auto it. He's just looking to see if he can get a bit higher in content. So this is a composition that he would normally run. I'm just going to try and run with this. I think actually I'm going to switch him out for Baron for the first run and see how that goes. I need enough damage to get through the boss. He's going to give me a decent block debuff, so I'm not going to take a load of poisons. Got some healing here, AoE heal, good damage here, good damage here. Yeah, I think that should work. Let's try it. So I'm going to take it off of auto for now. I just want to see how it runs if I'm actually playing it. I'm going to start by depleting his turn meter and regaining turn meter. So for me, actually, what I want to do is stay in control of this. And some people there might just go straight into, and auto would go straight into kind of block debuffs and everything. But actually, I want to just control the main spider. I think I can deal with these minnow spiders he says as he takes a pounding. But now I could get the block debuffs on, and I've still got time to do it. See, so any more poisons now that come in are blocked. And what I'm going to do here is I'll get the cleanse in a minute with my Steel Skull. So yeah, so we've got the AoE with this guy. I've not used this guy before, so I'm just checking his abilities. Places increased attack on this for 2 turns and attacks 1 enemy. So I'm going to do that first, get the HP burn on, get his attack up. So next turn I get a lot more attack. I'm going to go A3 here. Basically what I want to do is unlock his secret ability, which is a nuke. A3, go in, hopefully it hits pretty hard. This is the AoE, this is my heal back. So I could cleanse here and cleanse these off. I don't really need to, I'm just going to try and put more poisons on. Go in there, get decreased attack on, hopefully. Didn't land. Landed on all the spiders, which is still quite helpful. I really wanted it on the boss so that when he sucks in the spiders, he's not going to hit me as hard. So my biggest problem here is turn meter, as you can see, which is why I want Tyrell for this fight. Tyrell will basically give me another way to reduce the turn meter. It's also what someone like a Coldheart will do. But he doesn't have those sort of champions, and that's where this gets quite tricky. So I need to keep Baron alive. So I'm going to decrease turn meter. No, I'm going to let it run for another hit. So we've got his nuke up. I'm going to use the nuke. Clears a lot of those spiders out. Keep the poisons ticking. The poisons might be the way I win this fight. But it's going to be a long fight, so I'm going to decrease turn meter now. Decreases it all. He sucks it all up, so he's got another turn quicker. Lay some more poisons in, hopefully. Didn't land any. And actually his Man-Eater's pretty clutch for this composition because he doesn't really have enough champions that can do that type of turn meter manipulation. Something that I realised with Baron, if you see my Baron video, if I hit this spider here that's low health and kills that spider, it's going to AoE everything pretty hard. See that? 40, 70, 80, 90, really hard. If I'd gone for the main spider, all of those spiders would still be alive. But again, as we're doing it on manual here, we've got a bit more control. And it's not ideal because I know that Juice is going to want to be able to do this on auto. And I think with Tyrell he can quite easily, but with this composition here, I think he would struggle. I don't need that yet. So I'm just going to try decrease attack here, but also on the rest of these spiders when they come in at us. Keep going with the AoE. AoE again, just get rid of the spiderlings. I'm going to do the same thing again here with Baron. Just kill the small one, nuke the rest. Don't really need the shields up, I'm not taking any damage. And this is going to be a rinse and repeat. So I think actually, am I going to get that back in time? I'm not sure. It's going to be close. If he gets his turn meter back in time before Spider goes, it's just a rinse and repeat. And we definitely win. I don't think I'm going to quite get it. Not seen him land that HP burn yet. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong there, or if it's just not working. I'm going to put the shields up just in case the spider hits us. Oh, this is good. So we did get it off in time. Full turn meter back. And yeah, basically he gets another go. I think I'm going to put this on because it looks like a lot of spiders here are good to go. Don't want them to. I don't want them to put a load of poisons on me. I do have my nuke. You'll see here the nuke actually barely hits as much as that A1. And yeah, so we're 4 minutes into the fight. It's going to be a long fight. What I'm going to do is a definite win on manual, so I'm just going to sign off there, play it through, and come back at the end. So there you go, guys. First clear of stage 15 at first attempt, so pretty happy with that. It was a long fight. I've had to manual it. I've mainly had to manual it because I don't have the right. I don't think the auto would use Man-Eater to his effect, and probably not use Baron to his effect. But there's definitely the sort of beginnings here of the right team. We just need probably to get Tyrell into this team somewhere to have a bit more turn meter manipulation. And it's probably instead of Steel Skull actually, because Steel Skull, although he's adding some poison, I wasn't needing him for the heals. Bad Air was doing enough heals. Man-Eater's blocking the poisons, so actually it's just about turn meter manipulation really there. So pretty happy with that. Got through the first kind of set of content. Let's see how we can do on Ice Golems as well. So he's done stage 15. He's actually got pretty decent times right the way through here. This one's a void, so there's not really any issue around around affinity. So he's got in, and this guy here, as far as I'm concerned, he's a super cool arena champion. I don't think he's particularly great in kind of standard content, so I'm going to take him out. See, again, I know that Tyrell is great on this set of mobs. The defense down is just so great. But Baron I think is going to be good as well. We've got to be careful with a counter attacker at this sort of level, because you can actually kill yourself just by getting a load of counter attacks going off. I'm going to throw this on auto. Let's just see how quickly we can get through it with this kind of change of gear, change of setup. The main thing that's changed in all of this setup, so I've done a bit of work on all the champs, but Bad L is the main change. Bad L being tankier, more reliable, is the best thing that's happened to this comp. So we're kind of working through the wave pretty quickly. That's good. This Cupidus, I'm quite impressed by him. He's really strong actually. As I say, first time I've seen him in action, and I don't even think I've seen kind of videos on him or anything. So yeah, he's a pretty interesting champ, and he does a lot of damage. Got decrease attacks on there, so that should save me any blushes on wave 2. Yeah, puts his counter attacks on. It's not really needed, I think. That's the trouble with auto. They throws all this stuff on. Actually, we just want to kill him. But there you go. Should get through this wave pretty quickly, and I think we'll be sitting on the boss, probably at about 120, 130 or so. There goes Baron with his clutch A1, ridiculous ability, but I love it. And yeah, here we go. Should finish him off. Yes, it's going to be around 120. Great. So onto the boss. This is now I guess the biggest challenge. We just want to be making sure. I mean, actually, a Man-Eater on this level is really strong because he keeps this block debuffs up. So when these guys come in and start doing decrease defense, it's not landing. Things like the freeze is not landing from the boss. So it's just a case here of managing our damage, so we're not doing too much damage to force a big counter attack, and then making sure that Bad L is just keeping us topped up. So it's important to kill the ads first. Auto, it will do that. So you don't want too many AoE champs here when you get to sort of level 16 plus. But it feels like we're in good shape. His attack's not doing too much. The big one is actually if he has 2 ads up at the same time and he does one of those big sweeps. So we want to try and avoid that. But yeah, this is running through pretty nice. That's the thing with Ice Golem. I've done speed runs before. I've got under 2 minutes on level 20, but it's just a risky sort of setup. Perhaps I don't know, maybe 3 in 5 it will clear. 2 in 5 I'll wipe because I do too much damage and I actually trigger 2 massive AoE counterattacks like this. It does it twice in a row and it just completely nukes you. But this is fine. I think we've got a good run here. It's going to be a decent time. As long as something crazy doesn't happen at the end, I think this is going to be job done. So pretty happy with that. Yeah, 243, stage 16, first run again. Really happy with that. So let's just try another bit of new content in Dragons. So where is he up to? So we're already at 18, so this is going to be tough. Level 19. So we're on green affinity. He's going to be hurting Bad L pretty hard. We want Bad L though, so he's going to do all the cleanse. We don't want him in there. I think that might be part of his problem. Is he's not understood properly what that champ is all about. This fight actually, a lot of this fight is down to just slapping a load of poisons on the dragon. So if you can get through the waves well enough, you slap a load of poisons on the dragon, and at that point it's pretty much job done. So I'm going to take the counter attacker out. I'm going to try it with Baron in, see how this runs. Baron will give me my decreased defense as well, which I want on the dragon. It'll just speed things up. It's all about with compositions, you're trying to get things like decrease attack across their whole team. You're trying to get things like decrease defense across a boss when you're on that main boss fight. It just speeds things up. It makes it much easier. Yeah, this obviously we've got the unkillable on here, but it's looking a bit ropey for when that drops off. Luckily though, we've got 2 healers in. That'll probably be okay. But yeah, I mean, this is hard content. Level 18, you know, we're not, I wouldn't say we're kind of geared to the max here. We've got pretty much all level 5 stuff. And yeah, there's a lot of work to be done. So I've dropped one already. That's not a good sign. Yeah, so the trouble with these attack-based champions, you get to higher level content and they just drop. I think the game balancing is just not there. If I think of any other game which is kind of RPG or that type of game, defense champions, yes, they can take a hit. Yes, you can gear them to do damage, but if you gear them to do damage in any other game like that I've played, they actually will just take hits like attack-based champions take hits. Whereas in this game, you seem to, you gear them to be absolute tanks, and they still put out as much damage as an attack-based champion. So the game's completely imbalanced, which makes it really hard to get attack-based champions into content like this. You end up gearing attack-based champions with defensive items, which means that they're not getting anywhere near their full capability of damage. So yeah, I mean, I think if I was sitting with Plarium, the guys that actually do the coding and talking to them about ideas, that's one thing I'd say. Either you need to give attack-based champions something like a shield for the damage output they're doing, so that you're almost building their defense through their damage, or you need to tweak back defense-based champions' actual damage. At the moment, it's the balance is just not good. I'm going to try and get them to target her. So you see there, left click there, targets the champion I want. Or if you're on an iPad, just touch where they are. But basically, she's annoying. She starts running in all the champions to attack against me. I don't want it to happen. But yeah, as I say, this is tough content, and the hardest thing with anything sort of level 17 plus is getting through the waves, and we might not do it. So if you can get through the waves, the dragon fight, as long as we get sort of at least 3 of these champs there, I think we'll win. But there's a good chance we're not going to do that. Got one of them down. If Badel drops, it's game over. Unkillables come on at a pretty clutch moment there with Badel sitting at 1 HP. So maybe we've got a chance still. Actually, his reduced healing here is really, really annoying as well. We need that to drop off, but as soon as it drops off, the unkillable goes. So the two things at the same time is not good. So this is where you'd think, Baron, Void Legendary, he's got decent gear on him. Come in, whack everyone, but his damage is just kind of mediocre. Especially when it's running on auto. Put him in the arena and he's god tier, but I think this is going to be a wipe. Yeah, it's going to be a wipe. Okay, so we're not ready for level 18 yet. I thought it might be a bit of a stretch, but look, there we go. I think decent progress in the space of a few hours. So we've cleared an extra wave of Spider and got that to a decent place. Need to get Tyrell up, and then that'll be on farm. Ice Golems we've done pretty comfortably. Dragons is tougher. I think in terms of being able to get through that wave, the waves there, we just need a more defensive setup. Tyrell will really help with that again. I might actually just try running a quick run with Tyrell in. What is it? Blue, it's red affinity. No, it's not going to help me. Yeah, but the other thing which will massively change Juice's ability to clear these dungeons is to go for a Kymar Royal Guard combo. So basically, you run a set where you actually want Tyrell, Royal Guard, Kymar combo. So Tyrell throws his decreased defense, Royal Guard goes in and lays takedown, which is a massive nuke, and then Kymar uses his Seal of Magic and resets all those abilities, and then basically you go again. So the three of those champs work really well together. Fu Shan would work well in that as well. And what you're doing is you're basically just nuking down the opponent before they even get a chance. So yeah, look, I think that will do for this video. Perhaps I'll just try a quick arena battle with him as well. It's harder to know where he's actually got to with arena really, but one thing that's really obvious straight away before I did anything else, he's got the wrong leader on. So look at this. They're both speed leads, these guys. Speed lead by 30. It's a really simple thing, but this guy's the fastest speed lead in the game. You know, sometimes those small changes, the sort of min-maxing stuff, is what makes the difference here. So I would throw it like this, and let's just see how this plays through. So Maneater fast, he's going to give me the unkillable, and I mean this team's good. I think he'll clear this team pretty easily. The one thing I'd say is this guy's not really geared that great, so that's probably something we just need to work on. Here goes old Frank. Frank is pretty ridiculous as an epic. I don't have him on my account yet, but I would like to get him. Yeah, looking pretty good. So all we've really got to worry about, yeah, is just Apothecary. So that's, although he's annoying and he'll probably heal and stuff, he's not a threat to us. So yeah, that's good. So actually his composition's right. I think again it's just, let's have a quick look at some gear for Kymar and Lord Shazar. Look guys, I've been Hell Hades. Hope you've enjoyed this kind of overview tutorial type videos. Please subscribe to the channel and speak to you soon. Thanks.